Hi guys, it's Ben here. Welcome back to another Scared Equine video blog. In today's video blog, I want to talk about accessing the wisdom of your heart. And this is, I think, something that is so vitally important in day-to-day life, because so often we spend so much time in our head and we're just not connected to this intuitive wisdom of our heart. And the difference that it can make in your life when you fully connect to this intuitive wisdom of your heart, when you have the courage to listen to it, and you take the time to practice daily rituals that connect you to your heart wisdom. It's amazing to see how much of a difference it makes in your life. And I can speak from my own experience of how much of a difference it's made in my life for me to have daily practices that enhance my connection to my intuitive heart wisdom. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk a little bit about the mechanism of how that intuitive connection to our heart works and how it happens. And I want to talk a little bit about what happens when we go into stress and how that stress disconnects us from that. And then I'm going to talk about some daily practices that you can do that are quite simple and highly effective for connecting you back to your heart wisdom. Now remember, our heart wisdom is our intuitive guidance system. It's our higher self, if you want to call it that. And so when we make decisions from this place, when we connect to this place, when we interact from this place, the way that we interact, the way that we make decisions, the way that we influence our life is very, very different than when we are just simply in our head or when we're in a state of stress. So what happens when we are in this state of coherency with our heart is it usually is created by gratitude. So gratitude is kind of the key to creating this coherency. Now what happens is the coherency is really between your brain and your heart. And your brain and your heart mirror each other. They're kind of like they're one and the same in a sense. Now the only big significant difference that we have to understand between the brain and the heart is that the heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than the brain's, which means that all of the messages we're broadcasting, even the ones that are stress related, are still being broadcasted through our heart when we're stressed. Because that connection between and that coherency between our brain and our heart is always there. So even when it's an incoherent, stressful, intention that we have that's permeating our thoughts and our heart, it's still being amplified and expressed through our heart center, through that electromagnetic field, through our energy as we interact with other people in life. And so this coherency between the brain and the heart is really like the key to accessing this wisdom. Because what we have to understand is that when we're in stress, we don't have access to that intuitive wisdom of the heart because we're blocked. And so we're broadcasting stress. And usually what that means is that we're not listening to the intuitive wisdom of the heart. We're actually listening to something else, some external circumstance, some external stress or something like that is influencing our decision-making process and overlaying or interrupting that connection to our intuitive wisdom of our heart. And so what we have to look at is, we have to look at, obviously what is that stress, but we also have to look at how can I reconnect to my heart wisdom? What are some of the ways I can practice connecting to my heart wisdom? Because what tends to happen when we're in stress is if it's a stressful situation, we tend to disconnect from that intuitive wisdom of our heart, and then it just becomes almost like we're protecting ourselves by not actually connecting. So we disconnect as a way of self-protection, and I'm sure we've all been there, disconnecting to protect our heart. And when we do this, like I said, we also shut down our ability to receive and transmit that intuitive wisdom that we have access to from our heart center when our heart is open. Now, when we transmute or when we transform that stress into gratitude, what happens is we create these coherent rhythms between the brain and the heart. Instead of it being chaos, which is again the chaos from stress, which is again reflected in our heart-brain connection, but there's a very strong incoherency, which means the brain, the rhythms and the heart rate's all out of place, and it's all, scattered and very ineffective. When we come into a state of gratitude, that coherency comes back in. So the heart rhythms and the brain energy aligns, and the whole body comes into alignment when we're in a state of gratitude. And so gratitude is the key to reawakening the intuitive wisdom of the heart. And so when we're in stress, we have to find a way to try and bring ourselves back into gratitude, bring ourselves back into alignment with the wisdom of our heart. And so I'm going to run through a few exercises that you can do to help you bring yourself back into this place of gratitude. Now, one of the most simple daily practices you can do, that I do on a daily basis, is practicing gratitude. Okay, now I'm not saying practicing gratitude just for the things that make you feel good. I'm saying practicing gratitude for the things that challenge you as well. And this is where I think it's really important to make this distinction, because a lot of people practice gratitude, but not a lot of people practice gratitude for the things that challenge them. They don't practice gratitude for everything. And so this is where it's a limited practice, because as long as the circumstances in your life appear to be supporting you, then you will feel grateful in a sense. And as long as they appear to be challenging you, you will feel ungrateful. Now, this is going to create a lot of volatility and a lot of stress if you're only grateful in situations where things are in alignment or support your values. So we have to find a way to be grateful for everything in our life. So every day, making a practice of sitting down and asking the questions, how did this challenge serve me today? So even if it's a really challenging situation, a really challenging day, how does this challenge serve my higher purpose? How does it, how can I turn this into something that I can be grateful for? So, a simple example would be you have a fight with a work colleague. And this is, it really puts you into a situation where you're feeling really stressed and you're really just not happy with how things turned out. And a lot of people would say, okay, that's bad. That's not something I want to be grateful for. But if you have a difference in opinions, if you have boundaries that are being crossed, if you have situations that things and emotional things that aren't being addressed between you and that partner, and it came to a point of where you had to have a fight, well, that is a positive thing, because at least you're now expressing this unease. And again, you can find that the gratitude in that might be that there's a lesson in it, in that you need to express these things and lay them out and trust your intuitive wisdom of the heart. Now again, this is really interesting, because a lot of times in these situations, what happens is we have these intuitions before the fight takes place, or before the disaster takes place. We have all these intuitive messages from our heart, but we fail to listen to them. So we get an experience that teaches us a lesson. And this is what happens with the heart. So in order to be grateful, we have to see how the intuitive wisdom of our heart maybe has already been trying to tell us what we need to do in this situation. And are we really listening to it, or are we ignoring it? And again, like I said, what often happens is, in these situations, that intuition is there. It's trying to point us in the right direction. So if a fight took place, or something bigger in your environment has to be pointed out to you to make you wake up and go, wow, this is really important to me, and I need to make a decision about it, then that's actually a really positive thing. And you can see how, if you see that sequence of events, you can go, oh, thank you for the fight, because it's helped me realize the way that I'm doing things is not effective. It's not working for me. It's not working for my colleague, and I need to sit down and have a vulnerable conversation with that person. So another practice that we can have, aside from practicing a daily gratitude, having a daily ritual of gratitude, is to practice meditation. Now, meditation is a great one. There's a really simple one that I like to use to help you become more empowered in being able to access the wisdom of your heart. And that is heart breathing. And you might have heard of this before, but basically what we're doing is we're breathing into our heart center, and we're trying to, again, by breathing into our heart center, what we're doing is we're synchronizing our energy with our brain, with our heart, and we're actually accessing that wisdom of the heart. Again, we're accessing the energy of the heart, we're connecting to it. And if we spend even a few minutes, multiple times throughout the day, connecting to our heart and breathing into our heart, again, this changes the whole frequency of our brain waves as well as our heart rate and those things, because it comes into coherence again. And allowing yourself just to spend some time in that space. And if you've got a decision you've got to make and you need to ask certain questions, you can use your heart's breathing to help to set you up to then think about those decisions that you want to make, to allow you to make decisions that are more empowering to you. So you use that heart breathing and then you make your decision. And you'll find that you'll access, a much more powerful level of intuition. And again, when we're in tune with this heart space, what we tend to do is make better decisions that are in our best interest and in the best interest of other people. And again, the reason why we don't make those good decisions is often because we're in stress, or because we're spending too much time in our head and not enough time connecting to that intuitive wisdom. Now, there's a lot of other practices that you can do that help you connect to your heart wisdom. Obviously doing what you love on a daily basis is always going to bring you into alignment with your intuitive heart wisdom. There's a lot of other things. People can get it from walking, from fishing, from prayer, there's so many different ways. But whatever it is for you, make that a priority in your life. Spend time doing that every day, and that's one surefire way of connecting you to that wisdom. But again, I encourage you to practice all these other ways, because life's too short to be wasted on being stuck in our heads, or being stressing and carrying emotional burdens that we could release, that aren't really essentially in our best interest or the best interest of others. So again, just recapping that, with that intuitive practice of gratitude each day, remember, you're trying to find gratitude not only in the things that support you, but also the things that challenge you, because you have to be able to integrate challenging experiences, emotionally challenging, mentally challenging, physically challenging experiences, to be able to return yourself to a state of gratitude. So if you can find the gifts in those challenges and how they serve you in many different levels and different parts of your life, then you can start to bring yourself back into that state of gratitude and move forward in life with more connected, heartfelt, intuitive awareness and wisdom. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.